My Padme. I got my Padme without the B1, without the droidica, and I think it's going to be easier than ever getting Padme this next time around. Funny how it works, right? Padme comes out, we had bad separatists, and all of a sudden, wow, everyone's got a rework now.
We've got to talk about this event because Newt had a significant rework, so did Count Dooku and all the Genosians. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, I was sent a video clip from an EA. I don't know what it was. Their creative process, something like that. But the email that they sent it just says, "This is why we don't have nice things." That was the title of the email. Do you want to watch this with me?
I'm ready to see this top secret footage leaked by EA. Let's see this.
I think this was like a training video or a recruitment video or something. I'm not really sure. So we're going to watch this together and we're going to have a full breakdown. I think it's vital to understand why what's going on in the game is going to be revealed here, right?
Oh my goodness. Is this where they're going to release Jar Jar Binks? Let's see.
Let's do it.
I'm Max Bougen. I'm a lead environment artist at Electronic Arts.
Okay.
One of the best things I think I like about my job is the fact that I get to be so creative. I get to work with so many other creative
He's creative.
People.
Marshmallow challenge.
Oh.
And the way that we do that, working together, we have a lot of talks, we communicate all the time, and actually sort of bouncing ideas off each other.
Is that spaghetti? That's spaghetti.
Guys.
And marshmallows. What is Oh, here comes the emotional music now.
And then he goes home.
He just split up marshmallows and spaghetti. And he goes home.
I gotta rewind that. He says he's the environment artist.
I'm a lead environment artist.
And then he talks about how great it is to work at EA and it's a creative process.
My job,
and then they work with noodles and marshmallows, and then he goes home.
Oh, he blew a horn too.
And the way that we do that, working together.
How is this related to making video games?
All the time. And actually sort of bouncing ideas off each other is normally the best way to come up with the best
There's the horn. Where's the horn?
Guys.
There.
Oh, that says a lot, right? Is that why we have no new content whatsoever for the game?
It's just straight up.
It's
and one laptop, man.
We just got a reskin of Grand Arena and a reskin of Territory Battles. That's the creative process is summed up right here. You know, they're playing with noodles and marshmallows. My God, right?
Oh gosh. Oh, it's too good. It's too good. At least now it explains noodles and one laptop, man. That would hinder your creative process.
Yeah, their
right?
website says they use one laptop. I don't know if this is meant to be ironic or what. I don't know what they're trying to do over there, but it's interesting. Okay, so let's talk about Genosians and the Separatists and Padme event. So the Padme event is kind of tricky, and there's a kill order. It seems like most people go for Padme first, maybe Anakin, then you have to get rid of Fish Lee, right? Which is basically Jolie in disguise, right? And then from there, you should be able to take it out. Now, the main way that like most people were beating this event was with General Grievous. And General Grievous needing the Zeta on his metalloid monstrosity, which whenever a Separatist or a droid dies, he takes a bonus turn and he resets all of his ability cooldowns, and then you just go berserk, and you're basically relying Grievous going. And I think it's going to be really easy for me because now I have Grievous. My Grievous went from like a health pool of like 50, 60,000 to like 120,000, 110,000. So it should be pretty easy. But there's some other things that got reworked, and I just want to talk about characters that absolutely avoid and not take into the event. How does that start? How does that sound?
That sounds like a great plan for me because especially now Grievous being such an important character, and it's obvious his capital ship is coming sometime. So this is going to be one of the more important characters in the game right now. So in that, his second rework and all these other Separatists, this should be a pretty easy legendary event this second time around.
Let's do it Brood Alpha. Let's just start and we'll go from right to left and just look at all the characters and talk about which characters. Brood Alpha is a character I would avoid using for this event. Would you agree?
All right, so the only good thing about the Brute Alpha is that one, he's got the health, a pretty nice size health pool. He's a fast character, and you're going to call in an extra minion with you, so you'll be going into battle with 6 characters, which sounds nice on paper. My only concern is the Hive Mind bonus because you're going to be getting a lot of attacks out of turn because of how it works, and my concern is that you're going to keep just granting protection up. And the thing is, you want to try to create a lineup that creates as minimum amounts of the undispellable protection that Padme is granting through her unique ability. I kind of want Genosians to be useful because they're probably the more accessible team, but my concern is with Genosians at large is there's too many attacks out of turns and counterattacks and not as much damage compared to a droid team. So I would probably, if you're looking for a Genosian team, I'd say maybe just keep Brute Alpha. He's not a bad character, but I just don't think he's going to provide as much of a bonus as these other characters we're going to talk about today.
No, you definitely do not want assists and attacks out of turns. That just gives them that bonus protection, and then it's a mess, and then you lose, right? All right, B1 Battle Droid. Absolutely do not use B1 Battle Droid in this event. Explain why.
So I'll caveat it. I showed in my Legendary video, like I was struggling trying to find a team without the pay-to-play droids, and I said, let's just try this out for a second. If you have good droids, you could definitely do the event with the B1 Battle Droid, but if you're going in with low gear characters, B1's going to make it more difficult than it should be. Just the attacks out of turn, because he's always going to assist off of a Separatist, or off a Separatist ally. So again, you're just giving Padme all this extra protection that can't be dispelled, causing so many problems. So B1, probably stay away from it. And I think that's fine for a lot of people because that's one of the harder characters to farm.
They have that bonus protection. They resist negative status effects too, right?
Yeah, resistant like status effects, you can't critically hit them, and it's undispellable, so it just has a lot of problems. Again, if you have maxed out droids, you can beat this event easily with B1 Battle Droid, but just in general, if you're trying to go for a free-to-play, low-gear team, B1 should be out of the picture.
Yeah, okay, so Sunfac. Now, you use Sunfac in yours, right? And there's not a lot of downside to this. I mean, there is a chance for him to counterattack, which is bad, but overall, this is not terrible, right?
Yeah, it's not that bad at all. I used the Gear 11 Sunfac now is before his rework, and mainly the reason why I had him there was just mainly the taunt. That's what his purpose was back then, and he did get to at least dispel in his basic. And again, there's going to be a lot of buffs flying around. There's going to be a lot of protection. But one of the important things is controlling the amount of protection up that they have. So that's why we're going to talk about a lot of buff dispellers. So Sunfac's not too bad. Plus, he gets the blind and stagger and get all this other taunting stuff going on. So he's got a better kit than before. So I used him before, and he's just even better now. So the only thing you got to just watch out for.
The basic attack is pretty good on him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the spell.
Yeah, so that is going to be very good. Where you're going to run into some potential problems is this counter chance, 50% counter chance. So, Anakin has an AoE, then that would trigger, and then there's going to have problems. Newt has had a complete rework, and I wonder if you could even use like Nuke's lead, but for sure, Extortion just sounds amazing, right?
I use Newt Gunray every single Grand Arena. He's a fun theory crafting character. You can do so much because I actually want to see if Newt Gunray would be a good leader for this event because the extortion spreading around. The AI has no idea how to deal with it. They just let extortion sit around, which makes your characters crazy fast and crazy high damage. I
have Padme at 6 stars, so I will be making another video. I will be using Newt Gunray. I'm not going to be using as a leader. I'm going to do Grievous lead.
Yeah.
But he dies twice now too, which is going to fuel Grievous, right?
2 times, he dies once, he comes back alive, hides under stealth, just giving Grievous a free opportunity to take another bonus turn if Newt Gunray dies a second time.
Because that works with that Metalloid Monstrosity Zeta unique on Grievous. So I highly recommend this guy. And this is unknown, but probably him running as a leader would be good as well. That might actually even be better than Grievous.
I think if you don't have Grievous, Newt Gunray is the best way to go.
Yeah, so this seems like a big deal. Now with Grievous, because I will be taking some droids, but I haven't made up my mind which one I want to use. But this seems like it's going to be very useful with B2, which we're going to get to on this list here in a minute. Let's go to Genosians Spy. This probably worked pretty well, right? As long as you're not using Brute Alpha, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just his big damage that's going to help out. And the fact that he can apply expose and he hides under stealth. And that's kind of, there's a couple benefits to the Genos Inspired that I do like. I don't know if it's going to be a must-have, but if you have Genosians ready, because people might have the Genosians geared up for their ships way back when, so you might have this character sitting around, and as long as you're not getting him to attack on a turn, I think he'll be great, because if you can time him out right, put a lot of critical chance mods and some critical damage mods, one good hit, boom, he can get like over 100,000 damage easily if he's at the right gear level.
Yeah. Well, and if he's just going to die off and feel off Grievous, I mean, I think the whole event's going to be about Grievous, but...
it seems to be that way.
Yeah.
It seems to be that way.
And Droideka, no downside to Droideka. Well, his unique is an assist.
He does attack on a turn. Yeah, a little bit, but he puts out so much damage, it really doesn't matter. He just kind of overrides, and he has the damage immunity and stuff like that.
The Zeta on him makes it worse, actually.
Yeah, for the event, yeah. So you don't need the Zeta at all.
The Zeta makes it worse. I mean, this might not be a bad option if you do not have the Zeta. The Zeta is going to make it worse. There's nothing wrong with Droideka in that sense, so that's interesting. Grievous, the event's all about Grievous. Asajj, I think, is a no-brainer also, especially if you've got the Zeta on her. She's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and quite a bit better, right?
I didn't even have the Zeta on her when I did the event. I mainly use it for the buff dispels, because the event is literally, the first time around was all about buff dispelling and then allowing Grievous to take his bonus turn and just charge up. Asajj Ventress, she dispels on her middle ability, so that for me worked out great. So I think even though she doesn't have any Separatist synergy aside from the Separatist tag, just the buff dispel alone should be helpful. But if you do have the Zetas, it's going to help you out because of all the extra
she's
bonus
got a lot of things in her kit.
Yeah, she's got stuns and stuff like that. She's not a bad character. Just
defense down, and then then of course hopefully she's to ramp up her damage. Yeah. I think she's Grievous, Asajj, Newt. B2, I think this is a staple.
That's a must-have, yeah. I feel like thematically they made it that way too, because B2 is at the Battle of Geonosis too. Just the constant buff the spells. And if you're doing Grievous lead, and if you have the Zeta on Grievous lead, the target lock synergy is going to be great. So yeah, but solely the fact that you're going to get constant buff the spells, it's going to be great. And the Zeta is nice in it, but it's not necessary to make it work either. You're going to get some turn meter out of it.
Yeah, I think the core team for most people is going to be Grievous, B2, Asajj, Newt, and then who would you take in for the fifth? Magna Guard?
I would do either Sunfac or Magna Guard.
Yeah, Magna
either one
Guard.
of those two.
Yeah, I think that's probably the safest team right there. Grievous, Asajj, B2, Newt, and Magna Guard.
The fact that you're taking heat off Grievous, that's going to be really important. And if you're running a double tank lineup, Sunfac and Magna Guard, it's almost impossible for Grievous to get touched.
Newt, you're going to get...
Newt dies off twice.
Yeah, Newt, you're going to be getting basically doubling down on your Grievous, right? So that's a fantastic thing to have Newt die off twice. Okay, fantastic. And then let's talk about Dooku. Dooku was... detrimental to the event before, but he was completely reworked and is entirely different. Basically, counterattacks on this event is bad, but he can do this right here. Dispel all debuffs from himself, gains riposte. And then basically everybody gets turn meter, and then he won't be counterattacking because he's going to be stealth. I mean, there's still AoE from Anakin, right?
Yeah, AoE Anakin is the problem because he might rip off all that stuff on him.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, we'll have to see how that is, but still, it seems like Grievous, Asajj, Newt, Magna Guard, and B2 is the way to go. I actually had better luck with Poggle over Dooku the first time around.
Yeah, because Poggle cleanses now, too, which is nice.
Okay, and then the basic attack has ability block. Yeah, so I think of all the Genosians, this is probably the best one to take in.
Yeah, that or Sunfac. Those are two of the more useful ones for this event. We're not saying in general in the game, but for this event, having the cleanse, and the cleanse grants turn meter. It's kind of like a Captain Rex almost type of thing. It doesn't grant tenacity up, unfortunately, but just having the turn meter and the cleanse on his Warlord's resolve, that's going to be great right there because I believe they're going to, Anakin applies debuffs and almost all of them apply. You can't
then call another ally to assist. That's not helpful.
Just stay away from that. Yeah, that's the only downside of it. But if you need a major cleanse, it doesn't hurt. You might get one attack out of turn, whatever, let it be. As long as it's not constant attacks out of turn. Like even Newt Gunray, he calls people to assist. Just don't overuse it. That's the thing. A lot of these guys have attacks out of turns, but it's just the fact that you don't want to overdo it in.
Yeah.
That's kind of the main thing.
And then this one here would probably last resort. And if you do end up using Genosian Shoulder, just do not do this ability here. because that is going to be
that's the main
up
highlight of him, which is the problem.
Yeah. So and that is the reason why he was useful, and the rest of it is just like that's that. I mean, he would just be to stand there and to die off and fuel Grievous. So what would be the optimal team in your opinion?
So either Grievous or Newt Gunray lead, depending on if you have Grievous or not. If you don't have Grievous, go with Newt Gunray. And then afterwards, I think it's a no-brainer to have B2. That's got to be mandatory. Buff immunity, constant buff the spells. And then I would go for just the things that keep Grievous alive as long as possible. So that's why I would shoot for Magna Guard or Sunfac as an extra tank. Asajj Ventress, she's a great character overall. Buff the spells, stuns. And then in the last slot, you can kind of play around with what you might have left over. Even if you have weak characters, keep in mind, bringing in undergear characters isn't bad if you're going in with a good Grievous, because an undergear character means Grievous is going to get a bonus turn a lot quicker if that character dies off. So I think 4 characters mandatory, or at least very good, and 1 is kind of optional to you guys.
I think a lot of people have Gear 13, their Grievous. It just seems like one of the better characters. And we were talking about this before the video. I mean, Grievous and droids might be second best team in the game, maybe.
They're somewhere between second to fourth. Nothing lower, nothing higher. Darth Revan's obviously number 1, but Jedi Knight Revan, I don't think he's as good as Grievous anymore. And it's really come down to just Padme or Grievous, which is better, and they both can beat each other.
Yeah. All right. Well, guess what time it is?
Time for the giveaway!
All right.
Favorite part of my day.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, I really hope you liked this video today, because if you did, you are in luck. For every single person that likes this video, you'll be getting for free in your account an 8-star Poggle the Greater. This is not a scam.
I can't believe you had no idea who Poggle the Greater was. He was so important.
Who takes the time on fandom to create these like meme wikis? True story. Remember when? Oh my God, you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
What was it? What was it? There was a. It was in the. There was a glitch
Territory Wars.
Where it just said 888 or something in Territory Wars.
It showed that there was like a character of some sort, and it just said 8s as the name.
Yeah.
And then you look it up on the interwebs.
So we went to the same website and we looked up as CT888s and made videos about it. And it's literally Rex with someone just drew a little.
And they colored him a little bit on the side.
We made a video about this guy. We're like, oh my God. Did you actually published it, right?
I called you when I was editing. I'm like, dude, this isn't a real character. So I had to like add a little re-edit pretending that we knew it was fake, even though during the original recording, we didn't know it was fake. Oh gosh. Good times, man. Good times. I think they still should add a character to like Territory Wars or something. That'd be kind of fun, but
yeah. Oh my goodness.
No, man.
All right. Well, I will definitely make a video when I get my 7-star Padme. I think it's going to be a cakewalk. First time around, man, that was a mess. That was a train wreck.
It was must-have rework or the droids. That was really it, and not too much outside of that, unless you had a Grievous Zeta.
Yeah.
Not too much outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, and it was RNG. It was just a lot of people played it over and over and over and over again. I think this might be able to. I'm expecting to get it like within the first 5 attempts.
It's not going to be Chewbacca level difficulty or C-3PO. I don't think anymore.
It was up there though, but it took hours, right? I remember.
Well, because you're using unreworked characters. That's the problem. We used reworked bounty hunters for Chewbacca. We used reworked Ewoks for the C-3PO event. There was nothing except Grievous and his droids for the Padme event. Everything else is just unreworked. These were complete garbage. Dooku was garbage, and there wasn't much going on.
Yeah. So I think there'll be a lot of 7-star Padmes after this event. All right, that is
coming
up.
Get your 7-star Padme.
Yeah,
you need to get your 7-star Padme.
About a week away. All right, guys. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.
Domo arigato, bratatos.